Padmaja Joshi and you're watching the show that's not just about keeping things interesting, but is in your interest. And what's the point of interest that we are going to talk about today? Top focus, of course, remains Delhi. When elections are close, expect everything to be poisoned, including our political discourse. Is the government of the BJP in Haryana really mixing poison in your water, in the water of Delhiites? Here's a fact check. Spoiler alert, it's not. Also, we'll tell you on the show that the UK, which talks of free speech, apparently only believes in free speech for extremists, for radicals, for separatists, but not for people who are minding their own business, not for filmmakers who have actually got a censor certificate for their work of art. And did the Iron Age really begin in India? Tamil Nadu will have us believe so. This could be revolutionary. It could change the way that history has been seen. We'll tell you all about that. Tamil Nadu's Iron Age, that will come up in 20 minutes from now. But we'll start by talking about the most startling thing that, at least in my career, I've covered many elections, but I've never heard something like this being said ahead of an election. Delhi Chief Minister Atishi and Aam Aadmi Party convener Arvind Kejriwal say that the Haryana government, which is run by the BJP, is putting poison in the water of the Yamuna so that it will kill Delhiites and it would affect the outcome of elections. It's a very, very, very serious issue, and it has been raised just before the Delhi elections. Is this being done to influence the outcome of the elections? Is this a deliberate act by the BJP government in Haryana? Let's start with examining the terminology that has been used by the Aam Aadmi Party in the various statements they have made and the letters they have written. It started with Atishi and Bhagwant Mann writing a letter yesterday to the Chief Election Commissioner and saying that there has been a sudden and sharp increase in the level of ammonia in the Yamuna in the past 4 days. Remember that number. They say past 4 days there has been a sudden spike. Then this letter goes on to say that this is a deliberate act to impact elections and it is water terrorism. Words used by the Delhi CM, not me. Arvind Kejriwal then went a step further and said what is being done by the BJP is an act of genocide against the people of Delhi.
दिल्ली के लोगों को पीने का पानी हरियाणा और उत्तर प्रदेश से मिलता है। हरियाणा में यमुना के रास्ते पीने का पानी आता है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी की हरियाणा की सरकार ने दिल्ली में यमुना से आने वाले पानी में जहर मिला के भेज दिया है। ये तो हमारे भला हमारे दिल्ली जल बोर्ड के इंजीनियर्स का कि उन्होंने पकड़ लिया। उन्होंने दिल्ली के बॉर्डर पे ही वो पानी रोक दिया और उस पानी को दिल्ली के अंदर नहीं आने दिया। अगर वो पानी दिल्ली के अंदर आ जाता और पीने के पानी में मिल जाता, दिल्ली के अंदर ना जाने कितने लोगों की मौत हो जाती। एक मास जेनोसाइड हो जाता दिल्ली के अंदर।
Yes, you heard that right. Arvind Kejriwal says it is genocide. He even went on to compare it to what America did to Hiroshima and Nagasaki and said this is like biological warfare. I won't go into the political reactions just as yet. First, I want to examine the claims that have been made by the Aam Aadmi Party one by one. The first claim is that there has been a sudden spike in the level of ammonia in the water of the Yamuna over the last 4 days. The insinuation is that this was timed to the Delhi elections to maybe make the people of Delhi suffer and then put the blame on the Aam Aadmi Party. Is that really the case? Well, all I did was conduct a simple Google search and here is what I found. The ammonia levels in the Yamuna have been high since December 2024. If we just talk about this year, this past 1 month, 60 days, these levels have been high since December 2024. In fact, on December 21, the Delhi Jal Board issued this bulletin. And in this bulletin, the Delhi Jal Board said that the water production at Wazirabad will be affected because of high ammonia levels in the Yamuna. The ammonia level was more than 5 parts per million. And as a result, the water production was down by 25 to 50%. Just take a look at when this has been issued. This was a statement on the 21st of December by the Delhi Jal Board. It says, water alert due to ammonia levels in the Yamuna. Water production at Wazirabad plant is down by 25 to 50%. Expect low water pressure until the situation improves. So this is not something that happened in the past 4 days or, around the 26th of January. 21st of December 2024, the Delhi Jal Board said that ammonia level in the Yamuna has spiked. In fact, the DJB released pollution figures for the last 1 month, for the last 45 days. And if you just compare what those figures were like, it is laughable. We are told that around the 24th or the 26th of January, the last 4 days, is when the ammonia levels have spiked. Now I want to show you, this is figures released by the Delhi Jal Board, and just compare. So here is the ammonia level on the 27th of January 2025. It is at 7.2. Right here it is at 7.2. Okay. But take a look at what the ammonia levels were on the 1st of January 2025. It was much higher at 7.8. So if we are to believe that the ammonia levels were heightened around the Delhi elections, actually it has come down. It was at 7.8 on the 1st of January 2025. On the 31st of December 2024, it was the highest of the last 45 days. It was at 10. This is the ammonia level, 10 milligram per liter. That was the ammonia level on the 31st of December. On the 30th of December 2024, it was at 8. 29th of December, it was 6. 28th of December, it was 5. So if anything, compared to the 31st of December 2024, the ammonia level right now is much lower at 7.2. Unless the allegation now will be that just before the elections, on New Year's Eve, there was an effort to try and poison the water and kill the people of Delhi. The highest was seen 31st of December, remember. And these are all figures by the DJB, the Delhi Jal Board, which is headed by who? Not by the BJP, but by the Chief Minister herself, by Atishi. It doesn't stop here. The same thing happened, not just on New Year's Eve 2024. It happened in 2022, it happened in 2021. In fact, it happens every year. Once winter sets in, the DJB itself has said, the Delhi Jal Board itself has said that the ammonia level goes up in the Yamuna because the water level goes down. The number of pollutants go up. Water is less, concentration of pollutants is more, hence the ammonia level goes up. And all of this has been duly reported in the newspapers. Year on year, 2021, 2022, 2024, newspapers have reported how the ammonia spikes in Yamuna have happened. Here is an article from the January 2022. What does it say? This article says that in the second week of January 2022, the Delhi Jal Board had to shut down 3 of its treatment plants. Why? Because the ammonia levels went up in the Yamuna. Then it goes on to say that in 2021, there were close to 24 ammonia spikes over a period of 134 days. 24 ammonia spikes. You know what else it says? And again, these are circulars that were put out by the DJB. Data from the Wazirabad pond shows that ammonia levels stayed above 1 ppm, which is the ideal level for 16 days in January 2021, 27 days in February, 19 days in March, 13 days in April, and 15 smaller disruption periods between May and November 2021. So it has played out year on year. In January 2022, the Delhi Jal Board had to shut down 3 treatment plants because of the ammonia in Yamuna spiking. Even more significantly, in 2021, there were 22 ammonia spikes, and that time, remember who was Chief Minister? It was Arvind Kejriwal. The interesting part is that even though the Aam Aadmi Party is claiming is that this is an election-related sudden poisoning incident, we've already established, these newspaper reports have already established that Ammonia increasing in the Yamuna is an annual affair. All of these are published reports. This one is from 2020. I've shown you 2024, I've shown you 2022, I've shown you 2021, I've shown you 2020. So the Delhi government knew all along that it's a recurrent problem, and to address it, in 2021 they formed a study group. The objective of this study group was to address the issue of the rising level of ammonia and to control it. The study group included the Central Pollution Board and the Delhi Jal Board, among others. Various meetings were held of this group. We have accessed the minutes of the meeting, of one of those meetings actually, and in the minutes of those meetings, it is said very clearly that the DJB is taking measures to address the spike in ammonia levels. And what are those measures? They are going to upgrade the water treatment plant at Chandrawal and at Wazirabad. So they knew in 2021 that ammonia is a problem. They said we're going to fix it. We are upgrading the water treatment plant at two places, Chandrawal and Wazirabad. The truth though is that as of right now, both of these water treatment plants are still under upgradation. They have missed their deadlines. One had a deadline of 2023, the other was 2024. The point is very simple. This is not an election-related development. It happens every single year. The Delhi government, the Delhi Jal Board, the Haryana government, the Central Pollution Control Board, the central government, everyone knows about it. They have regular meetings to address it. In fact, the non-upgradation of these two critical water treatment plants could actually be contributing to why the ammonia is so high in the Yamuna in winters, including right now. But elections, unfortunately, seem to have brought out the worst in us. And now both the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP have gone to the Election Commission, accused each other of malafide and complained against each other. In fact, the BJP has even gone on to say, we are going to sue you. The Haryana government is going to sue the Aam Aadmi Party for defamation.
गंदा पानी, जहर वाला पानी अगर जनता को पिलाओगे, मेरे को डरा रहे हैं केस कर देंगे, कर दो केस। केस करने में कोई कसर छोड़ रखी है तुम लोगों ने? जेल भेज दिया, फांसी पे चढ़ाओगे मेरे को? कर दो केस। तुम जनता को मारोगे क्या? दिल्ली की जनता को तुम जहर का पानी मिलाओगे और केजरीवाल आवाज उठाएगा तो डराओगे कि केस कर देंगे? कर दो केस। लेकिन दिल्ली की जनता को मरने नहीं दूंगा मैं। जहर का पानी नहीं पिलाऊंगा मैं दिल्ली की जनता को।
केजरीवाल बताए कि कौन सा जहर डाला गया, कितने टन जहर डाला गया। इस सरासर झूठे और घटिया बयान के लिए वो हरियाणा और दिल्ली की जनता से तुरंत माफी मांगे, वरना हम उसके खिलाफ मानहानि का दावा करेंगे।
Is anyone contesting the fact that water in the Yamuna is dirty? No. Is anyone saying that water coming from Haryana is not polluted? No. All of these are facts. But remember, it's the Delhi Chief Minister Atishi who has said not once but twice that what is being done in Delhi is not negligence but is water terrorism. Arvind Kejriwal has alleged that poison is being mixed deliberately and maliciously in the water coming from Haryana. And that, unfortunately, isn't just factually incorrect, but also makes one wonder if more than the water in the Yamuna, it's the discourse in this election that has turned extremely, extremely poisonous. And speaking of discourse, imagine if there was a country where extremists, radicals, separatists would dictate the actions of a government and the actions of a police. That has unfortunately happened, and of all places, it has happened in the UK. On Sunday night, masked pro-Khalistan goons entered the Harrow View Cinema in West London, raising slogans and disrupting the film show. The reason? The movie hall was screening Kangana Ranaut's Emergency, which some extremist groups have branded anti-Sikh. The worst part was that far from stopping these goons, the cinema hall called off the screening itself, even as those who had assembled to watch the film, who had paid for the film, were intimidated.
government! Indian government! Indian government! Indian government! Indian government!
Yes, that's right. These were a bunch of people who didn't just call the government of a democracy, government of India, murderers, but also raised slogans for an imaginary Khalistan, raised pro-separatist, pro-secessionist slogans. And the police in UK, far from stopping them, shepherded out the filmgoers who had paid for their movie and were simply minding their own business. Eyewitnesses said that the cops who came on the scene said that the disruptors were well within their protest rights as long as no one was harmed. Despite many people wanting to continue watching the film, the manager simply said the screening has been cancelled. So, a group of masked, unknown, unidentified men who are intimidating others have their right to protest protected in the UK. But the people who are law-abiding, peaceful and just want to watch a movie with their family over the weekend don't have any protection for their rights. Interesting. And this wasn't limited to Harrow alone. Similar protests were seen in Wolverhampton, Birmingham, Slough, Staines and Manchester. And all of these protests across the UK have ensured that the film has pretty much been pulled off from cinema halls across the country. Tory MP Bob Blackman raised this issue in the UK Parliament and asked if Khalistani terrorists are now going to be allowed to dictate to the UK what happens there, especially when the country's own censor board had passed the movie, a concern about freedom of speech and about the law being upheld that's echoed here in India.
Sunday, many of my constituents gathered and paid for a screening of the film Emergency in the Harrowview cinema. About 30 to 40 minutes into the screening of that film, masked Khalistani terrorists burst in and threatened members of the audience and forced the screening to end. I understand that similar disruption took place in Wolverhampton, Birmingham, Slough, Staines and Manchester. As a result, View Cinemas and Cineworld have pulled the film from being screened. Now, this is a very controversial film, and I don't comment on the quality or content of the film, but I do defend the right of my constituents and others to be able to view that film and make a decision on it.
And we have also seen several reports on how the film Emergency, which was being screened in several halls, was being obstructed. We consistently raise concerns with the UK government regarding incidents of violent protests and intimidation by anti-India elements. Freedom of speech and expression cannot be applied selectively, and those obstructing it must be held accountable. We hope the UK side will take appropriate action against those responsible. Our mission, that is our High Commission in London, remains in touch, in regular communication with our community members for their safety and welfare. So we expect the UK side to take strong, appropriate action in this matter.
Mind you, in November last year, Keir Starmer had faced considerable criticism when he seemed to be opening the door for an Islamophobia law. When asked in the Commons by the Labour MP Tahir Ali if he would commit to prohibiting the desecration of all religious texts and the prophets of Abrahamic religions, Starmer hedged his bets. He responded by maintaining that his government was committed to tackling all types of hatred, including Islamophobia in all its forms. At that time, free speech advocates asked whether he is kowtowing to fundamentalists, but clearly those standards are different for different people. So finally, here are 5 questions for Keir Starmer and the UK government. How can interrupting a film screening and intimidating people within a theatre and raising separatist slogans be covered under the right to protest? How can mass goons enjoy freedom to protest, but law-abiding citizens who are simply watching a movie, yes, they were watching Emergency, yes, it may be a controversial movie, but don't they have the freedom to watch what they like without being attacked? Why have theatres in the UK pulled off the film Emergency? Isn't it the duty of the state to protect the theatres, the people who are in the theatres, in the face of such intimidation and threats from Khalistani radicals? How many people, by the way, have been arrested for storming and disrupting these film screenings? Isn't that against the law in UK? And finally, how can you have different standards for free speech? Is this freedom of speech extended to those who abuse India, who attack film goers, who burst inside a theatre, raise separatist slogans, but the freedom of speech is not extended to a filmmaker who has got a go-ahead from your censor board to make that film and to screen that film in the UK? We're still waiting for answers. And now today's history lesson. Did the Iron Age actually start in India? That's a question a lot of people are asking, especially in Tamil Nadu. And this has come after a sensational report released by the Tamil Nadu government that has big implications on the history of mankind itself. This report pushes back the Iron Age by at least 1500 years, older than anywhere in the world. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister N.K. Stalin has said that this report shows how iron was introduced in India around 3345 BC, 3345 BC. In fact, it turns the Iron Age theory on its head. What all has been found and has been dated? A sword and an arrowhead excavated from Telanganur in Tamil Nadu, Salem district. Iron chisels, axes and swords from Shivagangai. Polished stone tools and iron implements that provide us a peek into a sophisticated culture of iron smelting. All of these are discoveries that have put the spotlight on Tamil Nadu's role in ancient Indian history. And these exhibits were part of that study, Antiquity of Iron, a recent radiometric dates from Tamil Nadu. It was released by the state's archaeology department.
தமிழ் நிலப்பரப்பிலிருந்து தான் இரும்பின் காலம் தொடங்குச்சு. இந்திய நாட்டுக்கு மட்டுமல்ல, உலகுக்கே மறுபடியும் சொல்றேன், தமிழ் நிலப்பரப்பிலிருந்து தான் இரும்பின் காலம் தொடங்குச்சு என்ற மாபெரும் மானுடவியல் ஆய்வு பிரகடனத்தை இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியின் வாயிலாக அறிவிக்கிறேன்.
If Stalin's announcement is true, it will change the way we know ancient Indian history. Carbon dating of artifacts unearthed from recent archaeological excavations in Tamil Nadu established that the use of iron dates back at least 5300 years, making it the oldest date for Iron Age. The findings push back the Iron Age by more than a millennium, established the use of iron in Tamil Nadu as early as the 4th millennium BCE. This declaration is backed by radiometric dates from multiple sites. In fact, excavations at one of these sites yielded a date of 3345 BCE, roughly corresponding to the mid-4th millennium BCE. In the North Indian context, this period corresponds to the early Harappan period. This suggests that the Iron Age of southern India coexisted with the Bronze and Copper Age of the subcontinent, and clearly shows that history isn't a neat or linear progression. The traditional three-age system, stone, bronze and iron, might not be the right lens for understanding the subcontinent's past. Put simply, in the rest of the world, the Iron Age came after the Copper and Bronze Age, but in India it is very different. When the region north of the Vindhyas belonged to the pre-Iron Copper Age, the south with its over 3000 sites was associated with iron. The question also is, how scientific are these findings? Well, the samples were sent to the Indian labs for optically stimulated luminescence analysis and radiometric analysis, and for beta analytics in the Florida, United States. Similar results have been received from all the labs. The government in Tamil Nadu is trying to scientifically prove the technological sophistication of ancient Tamil civilization, while its government claims was often overlooked in the country's mainstream history. Tamil Nadu isn't alone. Historians say excavations in the last 10 years across the country have pointed to the coexistence of multiple cultures and sophisticated cities in the north as well as south of the Vindhyas. The ASI is now looking at excavations at Rakhigadi site in Hisar, a significant location that could challenge the Aryan migration theory by suggesting that Aryans were indigenous to India. As evidence mounts, the history definitely is more complex, and now with India staking claim to the Iron Age, let's see how the rest of the world responds. And that's it then on today's edition of In Your Interest. Remember, this is the show that is not about just being interesting, but always tells you what is the point of interest. See you tomorrow, I think.